In April 2017, a video appeared online showing a young woman with her arms bandaged up to the elbows. She stared intensely at the camera, her youthful appearance contradicting the shocking crime she was accused of. Cassandra wrinkled her nose, poured bleach on the bathroom floor, and prepared the house for a big party. Cleaning the place wasn't easy. It had to look presentable. Her boyfriend, Johnny, helped seal the door frames with a white adhesive to block the smell, making sure no one could detect the odor of two bodies upstairs. In the small town of Lawrenceville, Georgia, strange events unfolded over a week. 3 couples in separate homes were attacked, with no signs of forced entry. On April 2, 2017, the first couple was found in their bed with their throats slit. The house was ransacked. 6 days later, on April 8th, the second couple was attacked as they entered their home, sprayed with bear repellent and beaten with metal bats. The next day, a third couple was found bleeding on the bathroom floor, barely alive. Investigators found connections between the couples. The third couple used the second couple's car, and intimate videos of the second pair were on the first couple's phone. Police hoped for answers from Johnny Ryder, 19, and Cassandra Bjorge, 17, once they regained consciousness in the hospital. Cassandra and Johnny were deeply infatuated. To Johnny, Cassandra was perfect, his soulmate. A trained martial artist, Cassandra had given up her practice due to emotional struggles, but her intense personality remained. Despite dating for only a few weeks, Johnny felt like they had been together forever. Police arrived at a suburban home that seemed eerily sealed shut. Inside, the house was in disarray, with cigarette butts, dirty dishes, and moldy food scattered around. Upstairs, they found 2 bodies, a man beaten and stabbed in his sleep, and an elderly woman, similarly killed. The couple, Wendy and Randall Bjorge, were Cassandra's grandparents. The day after the bodies were discovered, Johnny sent a chilling voice message to his mom, asking for forgiveness. Shortly after, Johnny and Cassandra were found unconscious in another apartment, having attempted to harm themselves. When Cassandra woke up in the hospital, she initially blamed her depression, but eventually admitted to the crime. She told police how she and Johnny waited for her grandparents to sleep before attacking. Johnny started by beating her grandfather. Cassandra, hearing the noise, struck her grandmother with a crowbar. The couple tied up the grandparents and demanded the safe code. Johnny stabbed her grandfather while Cassandra opened the safe, which contained $1,000. The couple used the money to buy food and party supplies, continuing to live in the house for a week with the bodies upstairs. The couple spent the money recklessly, even using Cassandra's grandmother's bank card when the cash ran out. They invited friends over for a party, masking the smell of decomposition with bleach and sealing the upstairs doors. None of the friends knew about the bodies in the house. Cassandra and Johnny's crime spree didn't stop there. On April 8th, they attacked Johnny's sister, Melissa, and her boyfriend with bear repellent and a baseball bat. Despite their injuries, Melissa and her boyfriend fought back, forcing Johnny and Cassandra to flee in Melissa's car. Eventually, police tracked the couple to a friend's apartment. Surrounded, they tried to harm themselves again, but were arrested. In custody, Cassandra remained emotionless, recounting the crimes in chilling detail. She described her resentment toward her grandparents, who had raised her after removing her from an abusive home. Though they had loved her, Cassandra claimed they had become overbearing. At their trial, Johnny and Cassandra pleaded guilty. They were sentenced to 2 life terms plus 21 years each, with eligibility for parole after 60 years. Many debated whether either would have committed these crimes without the other's influence, though most believed Cassandra was the mastermind. While Johnny expressed remorse, Cassandra showed none. The story ended with her relatives devastated, mourning the betrayal and loss of 2 people who had cared for her deeply. Melissa was kicked in the stomach multiple times, but managed to grab Cassandra's hair and rip out a clump. During this, the attackers kept spraying bear repellent, which mostly hit Melissa and her boyfriend. The struggle continued, with the attackers having the upper hand. It's uncertain what would have happened if Melissa's mom hadn't arrived and opened the front door. The attackers managed to escape through the back, but not before leaving Melissa with severe injuries, requiring 7 stitches and staples for a large gash on her head. Both she and her boyfriend were bruised, and he also had a broken tooth. Shocking was that Melissa didn't even recognize her brother Johnny and his girlfriend Cassandra, whom she'd only met once before. To make matters worse, the couple stole Melissa's car, leaving behind Randall Bjorge's vehicle, which they had initially used and parked in the backyard. Johnny and Cassandra had originally planned to hide in Melissa's home, waiting for family members to return one by one so they could kill them individually. However, they hadn't expected Melissa to return with her boyfriend, nor for Cassandra to drop Randall's car keys during the attack, forcing them to flee in Melissa's car. Later, the lingering bear repellent fumes caused severe irritation for both Johnny and Cassandra. They stopped at a store to buy milk, hoping it would relieve their burning skin. Meanwhile, police visited Melissa's house to take statements and became curious about the car the attackers had used. Checking the plates, officers discovered it belonged to Randall Bjorge. This led them to revisit his house, where they found the crime scene. In custody, Cassandra revealed their plan. First, they killed her grandparents. Next, they intended to kill Johnny's family, who disapproved of their relationship. Cassandra claimed she had issues with her grandparents because they kicked her out for staying out late. She also lived briefly in Johnny's car after leaving home. Although she had thought about killing her mother and stepfather later, Johnny discouraged it, citing the potential risk of encountering weapons at her mother's house. Cassandra's grandparents, Wendy and Randall, had fought to protect her from abuse in her mother's home, even obtaining emergency custody of her. Despite this, Cassandra chose to turn against the people who had saved her. Wendy had been aware of abuse allegations against Cassandra's stepfather and had taken steps to shield her, yet Cassandra felt her grandparents had outlived their purpose. Police noted the living room in Wendy and Randall's house was filled with pictures of Cassandra, showing their love and devotion. Yet Cassandra told police her grandparents no longer showed interest in her and only lectured her. She resented their disapproval of Johnny, and Johnny's family also disliked Cassandra. Together, the couple decided that both families had to die for them to start a new life together. Cassandra and Johnny dreamed of moving to Pensacola, Florida, but their actions suggested little thought about the long-term consequences. After killing Wendy and Randall, they lived in the house for a week, attempting to mask the smell of decomposition. They even invited people over for a party, lying about where her grandparents were. Only 2 guests, who supplied them with weed, came, and neither suspected the truth. Eventually, police traced them to the home of Johnny's old friend, Jason. Surrounded by law enforcement, the couple attempted to harm themselves but were arrested. Cassandra later claimed she and Johnny felt more like Bonnie and Clyde than Romeo and Juliet. At their trial, they both pleaded guilty. Johnny apologized, showing remorse, but Cassandra remained cold and silent. They were sentenced to 2 life terms plus 21 years, eligible for parole only after 60 years. The courtroom and public debated whether either could have committed the crimes alone, with many believing Cassandra was the driving force. Cassandra's betrayal deeply hurt her surviving relatives, who couldn't fathom how someone so loved and protected could commit such heinous acts against her own family. The tragic tale concluded with the unimaginable loss of 2 devoted grandparents.